Good morning, everybody. Andy here with South Florida Professionals. And today we have Mr. Paul Anastasio again. He's with us every 2 weeks, folks. And Paul Anastasio is our go-to our mortgage guru. And folks, we hear the news. It's all over the place. Do you rent? Do you buy? Do you keep renting? Do you want to stay on that hook of the renters fulfilling their dreams instead of yours? Let's go to Paul. Paul Anastasio, good morning, sir. How are you today?
Andy, good morning. Good to see you, my friend. Good to see everyone. Happy to be here. Hope everyone's having a great week so far.
Oh man, it's great. It's great having you back here to speak on the housing market. And we have a lot of people. The last broadcast we did engage and ask you questions, and it's a hot topic, man. It's a hot topic. Rents keep going up, sky high. People feel that they cannot buy. I mean, Paul, can you make heads or tails out of all this mess?
It's a tough call, right? I mean, if rents were low, um, I would say, hey, rents are low, housing is up, rates are up, right? But the reality is that landlords are increasing rents. We've talked about it. A 2-3 bedroom townhome apartment in Kendall is renting for $2,800. For $2,800, with you putting 3 to 5%, you could buy your own place and pay less than that or around that. So, and if you've been around the last couple of years when everyone tried to scare you about the market, you realize that housing was up 20, 30, 40%. It has slowed down now, but still, can you imagine if you had bought a couple of years ago instead of renting, how much more equity you'd have in your home and potentially refinance and pay it off all your debts. So be debt free now, just have a mortgage. So it's still a hot topic. I wouldn't say it's black and white, but it's still a hot topic. And, we're going to discuss more about what does that mean? Are we in a buyer's market today? Are we entering a buyer's market? Are we entering a recession? There's a lot of questions here that we're going to answer. I don't know it all. I've been in the business for a while, so I can't tell you what the trends are leading and what the experts say, and ultimately, help you make the best decision for you and your family.
We have a comment there from a viewer from Jennifer. Great advice, Paul. We also have a few people already watching us on the broadcast. Folks, if you have any questions, be sure to drop them in the comments section below on the Facebook feed, and Paul Anastasio will get to them. Paul, we talked about a couple of weeks ago about the hike in the rates. It seems to be in the news again. What's going on with that? Can you explain that to the average consumer in English?
Sure. Jennifer, thanks for your comment, number one, and thanks everyone for watching. So the Fed meets today. They're saying that they are going to hike the rate 75 basis points. That's the Fed fund rate. That is the money that banks lend to each other on a daily basis. It doesn't have a direct effect on mortgages, mortgage bonds, mortgage-backed securities, but it does kind of. The issue we have now, Thursday, the gross domestic product report comes out, and more than likely, it's going to show that we are in a quote unquote recession, because a recession really means that that the GDP, or gross domestic product, is down in 2 consecutive quarters. So the good news is that even if we go into this recession, that is a word that people are scared of, I want to give you guys a couple facts that maybe you're not aware of. Unemployment is down. It's in a 50-year low. Every month there are 300,000 jobs that are being added to this economy. So if that wasn't happening, I would say, man, be scared. But the reality is that there are jobs out there. There are jobs coming in. Another thing, a report that I read recently, that somebody told me today, was that before pre-COVID, up to now, Americans have added $4 trillion in assets, liquid assets. This was a report that came out in Bloomberg in late March. So pre-COVID, it was at 10.4 trillion. Since COVID, so as of end of 2021, it's up to $14 trillion. So it's up $4 trillion in assets. So people have money in the bank. There are jobs. Yes, there is inflation that we're dealing with. The rates have gone up, but at the end of the day, unfortunately, the media does portray a very negative thing, but that's why we have to study facts, so that we don't go into that panic mode.
And Paul, it's always the best idea. The best idea is to be a homeowner, not a renter. I mean, We've seen what's happening to rents in South Florida, hell, all over the country. You know, the renter doesn't have control over that. The renter is kind of on the hook here, you know. But some people are just afraid that maybe they can't qualify. You know, maybe they cannot buy. You know, what advice would you give to those individuals?
Listen, that's a normal fear. Fear is normal. Just don't let it paralyze you, right? So speak to a professional. Speak to somebody that knows the market, that does this for a living. Myself, somebody you may know, somebody you trust. You could call me. The call is free. The conversation is free. We know that rent. The last data that I saw on rent about a month ago was that rent was up 31% in Miami-Dade County. 31%. Again, if rents were low, maybe this isn't the time to buy. Yes, the demand is tough right now. Just because you may want to buy doesn't mean that you can buy. I'm gonna be straight, always with you guys. The demand, the inventory is low. So a lot of realtors are actually looking for sellers. And Andy, I want to talk real quick. I believe we are shifting from a seller's market to a buyer's market eventually. Why? Because rates are going to have an effect. Home prices, you know, that the whole thing with inflation and everything is going to level out home prices, but still home prices get leveled to 4 or 5% as opposed to 21%. It's still an increase. Whereas if you're renting, you're not saving any money, you're not building any equity, you're just putting money in your landlord's pocket. So if you're open, let's have a conversation. Maybe you're not ready today to buy, but we can create a plan for you to buy in the next 3 months, 6 months, a year down the road. Let's create a roadmap so you can become a homeowner.
It's really a matter of getting on the road to home ownership. You know, maybe you can buy tomorrow, you know, but if you're renting, there's no reason why not to be on that road. But by speaking to somebody like Paul Anastasio with years of experience and guidance, listen, you know, get on that road and get on a plan and stop fulfilling the renters, you know, the owner's dream by renting, because you will not be able to control those rent hikes and you'll be forced to move. You know, we hear so many stories, Paul. We have friends and on social media, so many stories that they had to close their office, they had to move here, move there, because the renter decided to increase by 1,000, sometimes by almost 100% the rent. You know, and I know that you're not an attorney. I don't want to put you in the spot here, but is that legal? If somebody that's renting, can they do anything about that?
They've passed law, Andy, they've passed laws to keep people from increasing it so much, but unless the lease is specific, I mean, you know, it's a month to month. I mean, the landlord really can increase it. Now, I don't know the exact number. There is a number that they've been, but still, I mean, if you're paying $2,000 a month now and they increase it to 2,600, that $600, I mean, the reality is that a lot of people live paycheck to paycheck. So, and while the laws do protect the consumer, I mean, at the end of the day, I mean, you know, it allows the landlord to increase it, and market rents are just going up, and up, man. So if somebody has a question about that, I can put them with an attorney that can answer that question legally. But you know your rights. That's a great point. Know your rights, because a lot of people have been taking advantage of that. And another reason why you should figure out a way to become a homeowner. Hey, listen, buy a property with a relative. You know, I'm doing that now. I'm doing a loan right now for somebody the dad is buying the property for his daughter. Actually, she's on the loan. He's a non-occupant co-borrower. It's an FHA loan. They're putting 3.5% down, and he's not going to live in the property. He's got his own house, but FHA allows non-occupant co-borrowers. So buy a property like that. Become a landlord yourself. Buy a duplex, a triplex with 3.5% down payment. Live there a year. Live in one side a year. Rent the other 2-3 units. And in 1 year, you can rent out all the units and then buy your other place. And I mean, real estate, if you Google it, right? Everybody likes to Google things. Google it. Figure out what real estate has gone up in the last 5, 10, 15 years. I mean, numbers never lie.
Oh, that's an excellent idea and strategy that probably many people have not thought about. You know, so you know, we may have some people watching saying, I can't buy. But listen, how about help from Mami Papi or abuelos and relatives? You know, it's time to pull your resources together and have the family help to pull you out of that renter's nightmare. That's a great idea. That's a great idea. So there's probably multiple ways that, Paul, that you could get people into their house, right? I mean, it isn't just one way.
Right. Yeah, I mean, we have all the traditional lending programs with 3%, 5% conventional FHA. We also have programs for self-employed people that don't document their income correctly and they show bank statements, for example. You're in a business that's a deposit-rich business that comes into your account. We take your deposits, and those are going to require a 10% down payment, but still, you have the money in a savings. You have, or a relative has the money. You have these deposits. I don't need to show your pay stubs or your taxes. I just take your deposit. The bank figures out your monthly income. There is still a debt to income with that, but typically, you'd be surprised, man. What we see these people getting deposit, and they think they can't buy, and they could easily buy. So you become a homeowner, and again, as we've said before, Andy, you marry the home, right? So a lot of people are so focused. I get these calls. What's the rate right now? Guys, the rate is going to be somewhere in the mid fives, okay? Depending on the lender, depending on your credit score, depending on a few factors, but let's just call it somewhere in the mid fives. You marry the house, you date the rate because the rate is going to change, and you could always refinance in the next 6 months, a year, 2 years. In those year, 2 years, or 3 years, your house is going to appreciate, even if it appreciates at 3 or 4%. How does that? Okay, Paul, it's only 3 or 4%. Let me ask you a question. Is your rent appreciating? Are you getting an incentive for renting? I would say the answer is no. So if you could buy, even with the market calming down a little bit, and still have a 3 or 4 or 5% appreciation, man. I mean, again, numbers don't lie. Get off the bench, get into the game.
Wow. I remember that broadcast. That was a lot of fun. That was a lot of fun. Folks, there's so many ways for you to become a homeowner these days. Go ahead and contact Paul. Paul has a wealth of knowledge and information. You really don't know. You may be saying to yourself or your significant other, hey, we just can't buy now. We just can't buy. Maybe not, a phone call. Paul, is there a charge? I mean, do you charge people to call you?
Phone system, listen, the call is free. So unless you're going to a payphone and putting a quarter to call me, are there payphones still, Andy? I don't know, but call's free. Just give me a call, and we have a consultation over the phone. We could do a Zoom consultation. All I'm going to do is I'm going to guide you, ask you a couple of questions, and I'm going to make you feel at ease during the process, because that's something I enjoy doing, because I know it's a little nerve-wracking. For most people, it's going to be their biggest investment to buy a home. So allow somebody like myself, a professional, to assist you in that process. And again, if you're not ready today, we can set a plan so you can be ready in the next 3 months, 6 months, or however long it may take. We're still going to be here.
So, Paul, I haven't seen the payphone in a while, and I know that the phone call to you is free, but the phone call that is not made to you can be the most expensive phone call that they never make, because they're still paying rent. And as we all know, we've talked about it over and over and over again. There's no reason. There's no reason. Again, full disclosure, I don't want to upset any owners out there that are in the renting business. There's opportunity for you as well, right, Paul?
We have tremendous programs for people that want to become investors, that are investors, that don't necessarily have the tax returns. We do these debt service loans that basically takes the rental of the property to help you qualify. You put 15, 20, 25% down, and with the rents the way they are, I mean, these properties qualify easily. Rates are pretty good. And again, renters, unfortunately, and here it's kind of like a funny thing, because we're talking to renters and we're talking to landlords, but there's a ton of people that are renting. So if you become an investor, trust me, you're going to make money, and not to mention in the rents, but you're going to make it in the appreciation of the property. So it's, real estate is, Andy, you and I were talking offline. Real estate is just one of those things, man, that, it's almost like, people say, how tough is the economy? You go out to eat, the restaurants are full. It's like people have to eat, people have to live somewhere. So you're either renting and paying somebody's mortgage, or you're building your equity with your own mortgage. It's up to you. This is not, and by the way, this is not 2008, guys. There's no housing crash, because the loans that are being loaned out are not these Fugazi loans that were 100% financing, 125% financing, no income. These are full doc loans that they're verifying income. And again, we talked about unemployment is at a 50-year low. 300,000 jobs are added daily. People have work. So we're not going to go through that. So rest assured, and I'm not a genie at all, but I'm just telling you what the data looks like, and you can make your own decisions.
So we got a shout out to Nuyen La Castilla. Paul, she says, saludos, Paulo, from Nuyen Sildi Cervera. Are watching us live. Lou Sanchez is watching us live. David Singer watching us live. We have a comment from our friend Eddie Gill. Not sure how you can buy in this market. Paul, what would you say to Eddie Gill?
Well, first I want to say hi to Nguyen. She's amazing. Hi, Nguyen. Good to see you. Thank you for the comment. Eddie, great question. Everybody's in a different situation. I don't know what your financial situation, credit situation is. Obviously, when you buy, it's a mixture of income, it's a mixture of your credit, and it's a mixture of your assets, obviously. What we're gonna see, Eddie, what you're gonna see in the next few months, which we're seeing, and now we're seeing a shift. So maybe in the last few months to buy was tough because what? No financing contingency, no appraisal contingency, no inspection contingency. People were just, putting these crazy offers there, right? Now you're going to see a shift in that. You're going to see now the market shift more towards the buyer side. Buyers are going to have more leverage. And the reason is because of rates, because obviously the inflation that's going on, the fear that's going on. So fortunately for buyers and unfortunately for sellers, you will see a shift in the next few months that will lead more to a buyer's market. And let me tell you, I mean, all these firms are coming here from outside the country. They're coming here. So the demand, the buildings that are being built in downtown, I mean, just look at the permits that are being pulled. These buildings there is the construction that's happening. So, something has to give. I believe that it's going to continue to help the marketing to stay on track, not at the same level that's now. But I believe that because of the rates, it is going to calm down the market a bit, and it will allow buyers to buy. But again, everybody's different. So reach out with any questions, Eddie.
Excellent comment there, folks. We got quite a few people on here. You're welcome to post your questions. We have a viewer, Paul, Andrea Gomez. Can you talk about how the home insurance crisis is affecting the market right now?
Yeah, Andrea, that's a great question. Companies, have hiked up coverages. What I've said this in a previous broadcast, and you could go back. I would speak to your insurance agent right now. I would speak to, honestly, I mean, cable, anything that you're paying, I would try and renegotiate right now. I would contact your insurance company right now and see what they can offer you. And I would contact 2 or 3 other people to see. If you need a great referral for an insurance agent, I can recommend you. This person, I have seen it personally on multiple occasions, has saved people thousands of dollars. The call is free. He will just check your policy. And it's a great question because insurance is going up, and and condos, for example. Somebody was talking today on a meeting that I had, and if you're in a condo, if you're going to buy a condo, make sure that they have the reserves because there's going to be all these things happening in 2023 and 2024. So it's a lot of stuff going on. You just have to make sure that you are in with the people that know the knowledge to be able to help you in these situations. But regarding your question, I will definitely call your carrier, and I will call other companies as well to compare and see what you could do. And again, reach out to me personally, and I will refer you to a friend.
Excellent questions, folks. If you have any other questions, feel free to post them in the Facebook chat there, as you've been doing. Another few comments here from Mr. Eddie Gill. Speaking of the house pricing, insurance, and tax, Eddie. Paul, what's the best number that our viewers can get in touch with you at?
Yes, 305, myself. It's not an answering thing. It's myself. 305-336-0383. Andy will put it Andy will put it there, and I'll put it in the comments. 305-336-0383. You could call or text. You could also WhatsApp me if you're a WhatsApp person or you're out of the country. And yeah, I mean, again, we don't have a crystal ball to know what's happening. There's a lot of stuff. However, I do see a shift happening in this market that's already going on with from seller to buyer. And yes, appreciation levels are going to have slowed down tremendously. But I still believe 3 to 4 or 5%, which is what it's been many years in a row prior to these crazy times. It's still you're still building equity, and you're not putting money in a landlord's pocket. So, and again, as I told you, you buy with a relative, even if it's for a year or two, you save for a couple of years. Sometimes you got to do the things. Sometimes you got to maybe take a step back, right? Because a lot of people say they don't have money to buy, but they're still out to eat. They don't have a budget. So there's a lot of things that we need to do. We need to budget obviously better so that we can put money towards the important things. So again, I'm not a financial advisor. I'm just telling you from my experience what I've seen and what I see daily with customers that I talk to.
Folks, bottom line, if you're renting today, if you're still writing out that check, by the way, it's July 27th. If you're a renter, your check is due in 3 or 4 days there. Bottom line, as you're writing that check, after you write that last check, get in contact with Paul. Get in contact with Paul Anastasio. Just get his advice, get his knowledge. Maybe there's a way, there's a road to home ownership that he can place you on. Maybe you could buy right now. You just don't know about the different opportunities and different strategies and programs that exist right now for you to shift from becoming a renter and becoming a homeowner. If you're a homeowner now and you're looking to invest in additional property, get in contact with Paul. He can help you as well. Paul, I want to thank you for your time, and I know you're busy helping people get into the into the homes of their dreams. I want to thank everybody that has posted questions. We've had quite a few viewers on this stream. Folks, just go ahead and continue to post your questions on the Facebook stream there. And for more information on Paul Anastasio, you can check out mortgageloansbypaul.com. Mortgageloansbypaul.com. There's a bunch of video testimonials from clients there. There's a bunch of all the broadcasts that we've done is there, a lot of information, and you can schedule an appointment with Paul right there off of his site, mortgageloansbypaul.com. And maybe before the end of the year, you can get into the homeowner, into the property of your future for yourself and your family. Paul, any last remarks before we go, my friend?
Andy, thank you for your time. I want to thank the viewers. I want to thank the comments. I just want to tell people, don't let fear paralyze you. Don't let fear keep you from doing the things you need to do. Getting information, calling people, listen to what the news says, but don't listen, fact check it. You know what I mean? And reach out to people. If you're renting, reach out to somebody. If it's not myself, find somebody else, but please speak to somebody. Don't pay rent. Find a way to buy, maybe not today, but tomorrow. And again, we're here to assist you in any way we can. Regarding the insurance, which was a great question, Andrea, reach out to your insurance agent or reach out to me and I will put you in touch. And yeah, we're here to be a resource for you and wish you guys all the best. Thank you.
Awesome, Paul. Folks, thanks for tuning in. If you found this video helpful or if you learned some stuff about this video, go ahead and share it. Go ahead and share it with your network. Go ahead and share it with that friend or relative that might be renting and say, hey, you know what? I just heard from this guy, Paul Anastasio. You might want to check out this video because that person that you share this with that might be renting today might thank you for helping them to get into the home of their dreams for their family. Paul, again, my friend, thank you. We'll see you back in 2 weeks and continue the great job.
Thanks, my man. Thanks, everyone. Have a great one.